إنما المؤمنون إخوة فأصلحوا بين أخويكم.
So it's with with great pleasure that I welcome you all, and I'm thankful to everybody having taken this time out to join us today for this gathering of ulama and students. Of course, this is the first time we're having this session, this Center for Intra Muslim Studies session online, for obvious reasons. I think everybody, looking at the list of people who have joined so far, and we have nearly 20 participants, and I'm sure others will join. As most of you are well aware of the sort of meetings that we've been having at the Center for Intra Muslim Studies, and most of you have participated in those events, which have had this focus on historical and theological issues, but the spirit with which we have managed to engage, okay, the mutual learning and cooperation which CIMS has managed to develop over the last 4 to 5 years, is something which is a great opportunity for us to use in other ways which can be of benefit to our own selves, our own communities, and the Muslims at large. And it's always been amongst the aims of CIMS that we can and we must facilitate collective discussions over issues of contemporary concern. And again, in a manner where we can benefit from each other's insights, from the different approaches, both within Shia and within Sunni and across the broader Muslim community, and that we may learn from each other's contributions, from the outstanding scholars and leaders of the communities that we've had coming together in these meetings. Of course, the current COVID-19 situation demands collaborative responses. So responses to challenges where we do come together and we move out from our own individual comfort zones for the purpose and benefit of each other. Of course, our focus in today's discussion will be specifically on the ahkam relating to burial procedures. Now, I'm sure my colleagues and teachers and fellow students are aware that there have been numerous fatwa, issuances of advice and guidance which have come from individual ulama, councils and institutions here in the UK. Our aim is not to replace any of those efforts or to undermine any of those efforts, but the aim is for us to discuss, share and learn from each other some of the issues which are of obvious concern to the Muslim community today. So the format, and of course, is a trial format because we are online for the first time. We've tried to keep the format short. So inshallah, we will commence with a short presentation by Mufti Farooq Saab in Urdu. Dr. Khalid, the co-chair of CIMS, will follow up with the translation of this into English. We'll then have a short 10-minute presentation by Sheikh Arif. And then inshallah, we will have our typical extended opportunity for contributions from all of the ulama and students who are present. Inshallah, I will try to direct that discussion. The format of the discussion will be, or the preferred way that we try to manage this, is this: if you have a question and of course a comment or a contribution that you would like to make, please just type in the chat box, and then we will turn by turn try to allow everybody to contribute by unmuting your mic at the appropriate time. So if there's no further questions at this early stage, then maybe we can commence with Mufti Farooq Saab's introductory presentation about his particular views on the situation regarding the ahkam, regarding burial rights for people in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. Mufti Saab, are you okay? आप तैयार हैं कि आप शुरू कर सकें अभी?
अस्सलामु अलैकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन वस्सलातु वस्सलामु अला रसूल रब्बिल आलमीन सय्यिदना व मौलाना मुहम्मद व अला आलिहि अत्तय्यिबीन अत्ताहिरीन व सहाबतिल मुंतजिबीन, अम्मा बाद। अल्लाह रब्बुल आलमीन अपनी सब मखलूक की हिफाजत फरमाए। कोरोना वायरस की सूरत हाल बहुत ही ख़तरनाक हद तक पहुंच चुकी है और आए दिन इसमें इजाफा हो रहा है। बीमारी तेज़ी से इंसानों को अपनी लपेट में ले रही है और एक दूसरे को छूने हत्ता के मुसाफा करने से भी ये बीमारी एक दूसरे में मुंतकिल हो जाती है। इसलिए हुकूमत ने इस तरह की मैयत को हाथ लगाने, छूने और देखने से मना कर रखा है। ये एक हंगामी और इज़्तिरारी सूरत हाल है اضطراری کیفیات میں شریعت کے احکامات بدل جاتے ہیں اور ان میں تخفیف یعنی آسانی کر دی جاتی ہے۔ جو کچھ عام حالات میں حلال یا جائز نہیں ہوتا، اضطرار میں اسے جائز کر دیا جاتا ہے۔ اس کا حکم قرآن مجید کے اندر موجود ہے، سب اہل علم جانتے ہیں اور مسلمانوں کو بھی یہ معلوم ہے۔ اسی طرح قرآن مجید میں تیسیر یعنی آسانی کا حکم دیا گیا ہے۔ یرید اللہ بکم اليسر ولا یرید بکم العسر۔ قرآن نے یہ بھی کہا ہے کہ اللہ تعالیٰ کسی کو اس کی حد اور ہمت سے زیادہ تکلیف نہیں دیتا، مکلف نہیں بناتا۔ سورہ بقرہ میں ہے لا یکلف اللہ نفسا الا وسعها۔ اسی طرح اللہ تعالیٰ نے اپنے آپ کو ہلاکت میں ڈالنے سے منع کیا ہے، لا تلقوا بأیدیکم الی التہلکہ۔ اور یہ جو وائرس ہے یہ ہلاکت خیز ہے، یہ قاتل ہے۔ میت کو ہاتھ لگانے، غسل اور کفن دینے سے بیماری دوسروں میں منتقل ہو سکتی ہے۔ اس لیے قرآن مجید کے حکم کے مطابق اجتناب ضروری ہو جاتا ہے، جیسا کہ لا تلقوا بأیدیکم الی التہلکہ میں فرمایا۔ ہمیں اللہ تعالیٰ نے اتنا ہی مکلف بنایا ہے جتنا ہم سے ممکن ہو سکے، اور جب بات امکانی حد سے نکل جائے تو وہ قابل مواخذہ نہیں رہتی۔ سورہ تغابن میں اللہ کا ارشاد ہے فاتقوا اللہ ما استطعتم، کہ جہاں تک تم سے ہو سکے تو تم اللہ کے احکام کو پورا کرو، اللہ سے ڈرو اور بچتے رہو۔ نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم کا ارشاد ہے ما نہیتکم عنہ فاجتنبوہ وما امرتکم بہ فأتوا منہ ما استطعتم، یعنی تمہیں جو حکم دیا جاتا ہے اسے پورا کرو جہاں تک تمہیں طاقت ہو، اور بات جب طاقت سے باہر ہو جائے تو اس کا تم سے مطالبہ نہیں ہے۔ اب اس میں کوئی شک نہیں کہ غسل، کفن، جنازہ اور دفن کرنا یہ مسلمان میت کا حق ہے، لیکن حالت اضطرار میں حقوق معطل ہو سکتے ہیں۔ جیسے مسلمان کا یہ بھی حق ہے کہ جب وہ بیمار ہو تو اس کی عیادت کی جائے، لیکن کورونا کے مریض کا یہ حق اس کی زندگی میں معطل ہو چکا ہے اور اس کی عیادت کرنا منع کر دی گئی ہے۔ اسی طرح جب وہ مر جائے تو موت کے بعد اس کے دو حق معطل ہو جائیں گے، یعنی غسل اور کفن، اور دو حق جو ہیں وہ ادا کیے جائیں گے، جنازہ اور دفن۔ وبائی امراض سے مرنے والے شخص کو حدیث نبوی کے اندر شہید فرمایا گیا ہے، جیسا کہ اس طرح کی احادیث آپ سب کے علم کے اندر ہیں، میں وقت بچانے کے لیے ان احادیث کو یہاں نہیں دہراؤں گا۔ طاعون کے بارے میں آپ جانتے ہیں کہ یہ ایک وبائی بیماری ہے، اور اس سے مرنے والے کو شریعت کے اندر شہید کہا گیا ہے۔ اسی طرح کورونا وائرس جو ہے یہ طاعون سے زیادہ شدید وبا ہے، اس لیے کورونا سے مرنے والا مسلمان شہید ہے، کیونکہ یہ ایک اذیت ناک موت ہے، اور ایسی موت کو شہادت کی موت قرار دیا گیا ہے۔ لہذا شہید فی سبیل اللہ کے اوپر جو احکامات آتے ہیں وہ یہاں بھی نافذ کیے جا سکتے ہیں۔ کورونا وائرس سے مرنے والے شخص کو ہسپتال میں بلیچ سے یا دیگر کسی کیمیکل سے صاف کر کے پلاسٹک شیٹ میں لپیٹ کر جب بیگ میں بند کر دیا جاتا ہے تو چونکہ میت کے جسم کو چھونا اور پلاسٹک شیٹ سے نکالنا قانوناً منع ہے، تو پلاسٹک شیٹ یا بیگ سے نکال کر میت کے جسم پر ہاتھ لگانے سے دوسروں کا اس بیماری میں مبتلا ہونے کا خدشہ موجود ہے۔ اس لیے ہسپتال کی طرف سے کی گئی صفائی کو ہی غسل تصور کیا جائے گا۔ یہاں ایک بات ذہن میں رہے کہ تیمم جو ہے وہ غسل کا قائم مقام ہوتا ہے، لیکن یہاں کرونا والی میت کو تیمم دینا بھی ممکن نہیں ہے، کیونکہ محل تیمم مفقود ہے۔ تیمم جس میت پر ہوگا اسے پلاسٹک شیٹ میں بند کر دیا گیا ہے، اس لیے تیمم بھی ممکن نہیں رہا، اور لہذا اس کو ہم تیمم بھی نہیں دے سکتے۔ اسی طرح میت کو جس پلاسٹک شیٹ میں لپیٹ کر بیگ میں بند کر دیا گیا ہے اسے ہی موجودہ حالات میں کفن تصور کیا جائے گا۔ کیوں؟ لأن المقصود من التکفین الستر، कफन देने से मकसद ये है कि मैयत को छुपाया जाए, सतर किया जाए, और ये प्लास्टिक शीट से ये चीज हासिल हो चुकी है, लिहाजा इसी को कफन तस्वर किया जाएगा। अब मस्जिद के बजाय सीधा कब्रिस्तान ले जाया जाए और कब्र के पास जितने लोगों की गुंजाइश मौजूद हो वो जनाजा पढ़ लें, इससे फर्ज किफाया अदा हो जाएगा। और अगर इसका मौका मुयस्सर न हो तो दफन करने के बाद कब्र पर भी जनाजा पढ़ा जा सकता है। नबी अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने मैयत को दफन किए जाने के बाद कब्र पर जनाजा पढ़ा है। जैसे शोहदाए उहद कुछ सालों के बाद जाकर उनकी कब्रों पे जनाजा पड़ा, और मदीना मुनव्वरा के अंदर मस्जिद नबवी की जो खादिमा थी मरने वाली, वो फौत हो गई, तो उनको लोगों ने रात को दफन कर दिया। रसूल अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने दूसरे दिन जाकर उसकी कब्र पे जनाजा पढ़ा। हालांकि उसका जनाजा रात को मुसलमानों ने कर लिया था, हो चुका था, और वो दफन कर दी गई थी। तो इसके बावजूद नबी अलैहिस्सलातु वस्सलाम ने उसकी कब्र पे जनाजा पढ़ा। तो इससे ये मालूम होता है कि कब्र पर भी जनाजा पढ़ा जा सकता है। और अगर कब्र पे भी जनाजा पढ़ने का इम्कान न हो और दफन से पहले भी इम्कान न हो, तो जनाजा की तीसरी सूरत जो है वो गायबाना जनाजा की भी मशरू है। ऐसे मौके पर गायबाना जनाजा भी अदा किया जा सकता है, और मैयत की फैमिली जिसको रोक दिया जाता है कि वो कफन दफन में शरीक नहीं हो सकते, जो उसकी क्लोज फैमिली होती है, तो वो अपने घर के अंदर भी उसका गायबाना जनाजा जो है वो अदा कर सकते हैं। तो इस वक्त ये चंद चीज़ें मेरे जहन में थी जो मैंने नहायत इख्तिसार के साथ गुजारिश कर दी हैं, और डॉक्टर खालिद साहब इंशाल्लाह इसको इंग्लिश में ट्रांसलेट कर देंगे। अल्लाह ताला इसको कबूल फरमाए। मजीद अगर इस सिलसिले में कोई सवालात होंगे तो मैं इंशाल्लाह यहाँ हाजिर मौजूद हूँ जवाब देने के लिए। व आखिर दावाना अनिल हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन।
Thank you. Thank you. Shukran jazeelan, Mufti Saab. Jazakumullah khairan. Dr. Khalid, if you would be kind enough to come and please give us the translation into English of Mufti Saab's statement, please.
Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. So I have to focus on the major points of the fatwa of Mufti Farooq Saab, which is actually an answer to a specific question, and he was questioned about that. And the question is, this is very important for participants. The question is, according to the current procedure enforced by the hospital in this particular case, the case of the disease of COVID-19, the disease is washed with a specific liquid compound with anti-virus chemicals wrapped in plastic sheets and finally placed into a bag which is sealed tightly in order to stop the spread of the virus. With regard to the safety of others, no member of the family is allowed to get close to the deceased, let alone to have sight of his or her face. The question arises as to how it's possible to apply the above mentioned Sharia obligation in terms of kafan and ghusl and burial and janaza in the case of this person under these circumstances, especially when no masjid is in a position of holding janaza prayer to. That was the question put by Maulana Hafiz Saeed Saab to Mufti Farooq Saab at the very beginning. And so many things would be, cleared from question and answer QS session. The very briefly, the answer with regard to answering the above mentioned question, it has to be kept in mind that the rules of Islamic Sharia have been divided into two categories related to the common and normal conditions of people in their daily lives on the one hand, and concerned with abnormal and exceptional circumstances on the other. The question regarding this fatwa is linked with an extraordinary situation which has hardly been experienced in previous history. So far, it has overwhelmed almost the whole world and compelled it to a state of lockdown. Obviously, we have to deal with this issue in the light of the Sharia rules exclusive to the exceptional circumstances affecting the lives of people. So in this regard, Mufti Saab has provided in his fatwa 4 verses from the Holy Quran. For the first 3 are from Surah Al-Baqarah, and the final one is from Surah At-Taghabun. It says, يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Then ولا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة, and final is فاتقوا الله ما استطعتم. So the above cited verses imply the following salient points. There is no hardship and rigidness in ahkamat, rules of Islamic Sharia, and the consideration of the conditions of people and ground realities are highly regarded. B. No duty has been entrusted beyond the capacity of a person or persons. In the case of a severe mashaqqa, hardship or calamity, a special concession has been granted and substantiated that the hardship or difficulty must be avoided, and instead the option of safety and ease takes precedent. No doubt, it's from the fundamental Islamic obligations that the deceased should be given ghusl, kafan, and offered janaza prayer, and then buried according to the prescribed Islamic procedure. Conversely, owing to the widespread reach of the lethal plague COVID-19, the situation has drastically changed and turned towards the exceptional law conditions of Islamic Sharia mentioned just earlier in the light of the verses of the Holy Quran. This is an entirely new situation where even a COVID-19 patient cannot be visited in order to pay respect, which is called iyada, and which is the part of Islamic worship, and which is highly advisable. Similarly, the remaining Islamic duties such as ghusl and kafan will also be absolved, if not possible in the ideal form, for the sake of protecting human lives and mitigating the chances of further outbreaks. Janaza may be offered at the time of the burial from a distance or after the burial at the grave. Right. Then the ahadith from Bukhari and Muslim and Abu Dawood and Ibn Majah has been provided here in this fatwa, where according to these hadiths, a deceased of a plague, ta'un, and he or she is regarded as shaheed according to this hadith. So in the light of this shahada, in this case, the shaheed, because there are so many difficulties, shaheed does not need to be, shrouded or provided the ghusl if not possible in this case. Then the fatwa is, in the light of above mentioned exception circumstances and with reference to the verses of the Quran and ahadith of the Holy Prophet, the Ulama Council of UK Islamic Mission has come to the unanimous conclusion that in the case of the disease of coronavirus, the obligations of ghusl and kafan have been suspended on the grounds of shahada as apparent from ahadith, and more importantly, due to the devastating situation faced, with a view to minimizing the risk of spreading this epidemic and maximizing the saving of human lives. Islamic law highly values all precautions issued by the Department of Health in this regard. In consequence, the deceased of this virus is to be buried without ghusl and kafan, and janaza should be performed in the graveyard from a convenient distance at the time of the burial by as few individuals as possible, or may be offered this janaza after burial at his or her grave, and which has been presented by the Holy Prophet ﷺ as he has performed the Salatul Janaza on a lady, the caretaker of the servant of Masjid Nabawi, on the next day of her burial and Janaza, and thus a great precedent approved by the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And that's all. This is the khulasa of this fatwa issued by Mufti Farooq Saab on behalf of Ulama Council.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you, Dr. Saab. And thank you both so far for respecting the time that we asked, that everybody keep this short. As we said, hopefully we can have a contribution from other participants, elaboration and further discussion. But before we move to that, Sheikh Arif Abdul Hussain will give us 10 minutes as well of his thoughts and maybe some different perspectives which have also been shared on the same issue. Sheikh Arif, please.
So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Leaving aside my personal view and opinion with regard to the rites of the rituals of ghusl, kafan, and burial under the present circumstances, I'm going to respond to Mufti Saab's presentation and try and open up the debate from the jurisprudential angle. The first thing I want to query here is that the hadith of Shahada that the Prophet gave, that hadith in which the Prophet said that people who die of ta'un or people who die with burning or with walls falling on them are shaheed, they are not shaheed in terms of ahkam, they are shaheed in terms of merit and thawab. That's what the Prophet meant. And that's why we see that whenever a person dies in those circumstances, other than plague, where if there is no danger in washing and shrouding them, we shroud them and we wash them. So this analogy needs to be looked into more thoroughly and more carefully. The analogy of shaheed does not work. The second thing is that there is a distinction between haqqul mayyit and wujub al mukallafin. The haqqul mayyit is not an issue here, that this is the haqq of the mayyit. The issue is what is wajib on those people who are alive in terms of the duty. You can argue that the duty has been placed upon the Muslimin, not because it's the haqq of the mayyit, but because Allah is independently imposing duty on the people who are alive. So that's another thing that I wanted to clarify. Now, coming to the evidences that Mufti Saab has presented. Inna Allah yurid bikumul yusr wa la yurid bikumul usr. La yukallifullah nafsan illa wus'aha. And La tulku bi'aydikum ila tahluka. All these three evidences are not absolving us of duty. They are merely telling us, do to the best that you can. In accordance with the hadith of the Prophet, that whatever I say, do to the best of your capability. And that is known as Qaidatul Maysur, or the precept of feasibility. That if you can't do it in this way, and if you can do it in another way, then do it in another way. The wajib does not become saqit at all. There is only one principle within the Sharia that brings about the sukut of the ahkam, and that is la darar wa la dirar fil Islam. If we can use that precept in terms of the mayyat, then there is no hukam. The hukam is finished altogether, and that is obviously the famous hadith of the blessed Prophet. Now, looking at the washing and the shrouding, there are two things that come about. One is that it is wujubul kifai, that it is wajib on everybody. And two, it is not wajib fawri, it is wajib tarahi, wujubul tarahi. Wujubul fawri means you have to do it immediately. Wujubul tarahi means that you can do it after delay. Now, considering all of these things and putting them all together, if it is the case that the mayyat who has died out of COVID is dangerous for us to touch, then obviously we cannot touch such a body. However, if the COVID disease can die on the body after some time, and provided that the mayyat does not decay and there is no hatkul hurma, or the sacredness of the dead body is not undermined, then in that case, the wujub fawri is not there. Wujub tarahi comes in that sense to an extent. And the wujub changes hands. Our right then, our obligation becomes to store the body in a freezer until the virus dies and then give it its full rights. So here, fattakullah mastata'atum means this, that if you can't do it immediately, then do it after a little while and do other things which become wajib on you in order to be able to perform the final wujub that is due to the mayyit. So in this instance, what I'm saying is that the Sharia evidences of Shahada, the verses of Yusr, the verses of Mastata'atum, La tulku bi'aydikum ila tahluka, none of them work because all of them are pointing at Qaidatul Maysur. Whatever you can do with ease, you have to do. The wujub does not become saqit. In addition to that, if it is not incumbent to bury the body immediately, because the body is not going to decay, and we can store the body, then it becomes wajib to get a cold storage to store the body. And in addition to that, if we are told by the experts that the disease dies naturally on a dead body, and that is their expert opinion, then we'll have to adhere to their expert opinion. Now, the only way out of here is that if we have unprecedented number of deaths that we cannot possibly handle, then only at that point la darar wa la dirar and verses like these come in, precepts like these comes in, and Maysur becomes restricted to the mere burial. And then at that point we don't give ghusl, and there's no question of tayammum unless the nurse that is attending the mayyat, in front of whom the mayyat dies, the nurse, male or female or doctor, can give them the tayammum. Otherwise there's no tayammum as well, concurring with Mufti Sahab, and we go and bury them. Now, I want to take this further to its end, this whole issue, that if it comes to that level of urgency that we are finding in one locality, 100 people dying per day, and we just do not have the capability of storing them and burying them, then in that case, even the worst case scenario becomes permissible of cremating them. These are my thoughts in response to Mufti Saab's deliberations. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Okay, so Sheikh Arif has obviously given us some contrasting views and problematized certain aspects of Mufti Farooq's position. So I think we've already got some important issues to discuss. And if I can somehow just summarize, I think that amongst the numerous views which have been shared, is this sense which Sheikh Arif initially gave us to conduct the ghusl and the kafan to the extent possible. What's distinctive about Mufti Farooq's position is he's arguing for, in such circumstances as we currently find ourselves in, then ghusl and kafan is absolved. And those are the issues which Sheikh Arif is picking up on. So we, of course, will hear a response from Dr. Khalid. And in that time, if I can ask my colleagues who are listening, if they have questions, they can either type the question and I can read them out, or if they would like to speak, again, just let us know via the chat function, and we can open up the microphones for you. So while I receive a few questions and comments and people effectively raise their hands by typing, I'll let Mufti Farooq Saab have an initial response to some of the questions which Sheikh Arif asked.
दो जहत पर डॉक्टर साहब पूछ रहे हैं कि पहली बात तो ये है कि ये जो शोहदा वाली जो बात है, ये क़ियास माल फारिक हम समझते हैं, क्योंकि रसूल खुदा सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहते थे कि उनका रूहानी मर्तबा शोहदा की तरह होता है, ना ये कि उन पर अहकाम शोहदा के लागू पड़ते हैं। पहली बात तो ये। और दूसरी बात ये कि ये 3 आयतें जो हमने इसके तुफैल जो पढ़ी हैं एज एविडेंसेस और दलील के तौर पर, इन्ना अल्लाह युरीदु बिकुमुल युस्र ला युकल्लिफुल्लाहु नफ्सन इल्ला वुस्अहा और ला तुल्कु बिअयदीकुम इला तहलुका, ये आयत जो है ना, ये कायदतुल तयसीर और कायदतुल मैसूर की तरफ इनका क्या है इंडिकेशन है, न ये कि तसाकुत तकलीफ पर हो। तो ये 2 बातें अभी फिलहाल इसका जरा जवाब दें, क्योंकि वुजूब तराखी और वुजूब फौरी का भी हमारे पास इम्तियाज और फर्क है कि अगर कोई चीज वुजूब मुअख्खर हो तो इसका मतलब यह है कि बाद में भी कर सकते हैं, फौरी बात नहीं है।
जी, जहाँ तक आयात का ताल्लुक है, मैं ये समझता हूँ कि जो आयात मैंने यहाँ कोट की है, इन आयात का बिल्कुल डायरेक्ट मौजूदा सिचुएशन के साथ ताल्लुक है और फ़िक़ही कायदे के लिहाज से हम इनको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। ये दुरुस्त है कि आयत में तहसीर का कायदा जो है वो बयान किया गया है, उसकी बात की गई है। लेकिन तो इस वक्त हमें तहसीर चाहिए, इस वक्त हम मुश्किल के अंदर हैं। क्यों? और ला तुल्कू बिअयदीकुम इला तहलुका कैसे इस कायदे पे लागू नहीं होगी? क्योंकि जब उसको हाथ लगाने से, उसको गुस्ल और कफन देने से जिंदा इंसान जो है वो हलाकत में और मुसीबत में पड़ सकता है। तो ये आयात जो है इस हवाले से जो है वो यहाँ कोट की गई थी, वो जो जिंदा लोगों की सूरत हाल है। और इसी के साथ जो सूरह तगाबुन की जो आयत है और फिर सूरह बकरा में ला युकल्लिफुल्लाहु नफ्सन इल्ला वुसअहा, ये इस चीज़ को साकित कर रहा है کہ میت کا حق جو واجب ہے زندہ مسلمانوں پر کہ اس کو غسل اور کفن دیا جائے، لیکن زندہ انسان اس پوزیشن میں نہیں ہے کہ وہ اس واجب کے اوپر عمل کر سکیں. اگر وہ اس واجب پر عمل کرتے ہیں تو وہ خود ہلاکت میں پڑتے ہیں. تو اللہ تعالیٰ نے یہ اضافی بوجھ جو ہے یہ ان کے اوپر سے ہٹا دیا ہے. تو یہ قاعدہ جو ہے یہ بالکل فقہی قاعدے انسانوں کے بنائے ہوئے ہیں، اور فقہی قواعد قرآن کی آیات سے معطل کیے جا سکتے ہیں. لہٰذا یہ میری انڈرسٹینڈنگ ہے کہ یہ آیات جو ہیں ڈائریکٹ اس ایشو کو جو ہے وہ اس کے ساتھ تعلق رکھتی ہیں. دوسرا جو کوشچن ہے اس کا شہادت کے بارے میں، تو آپ نے کہا کہ وبا سے مرنے والا جو شہید ہے تو نبی اکرم علیہ الصلوۃ والسلام نے اس کو شہداء میں درجے کے طور پہ شامل کیا ہے. تو نبی علیہ السلام نے تو یہ کوئی تفریق نہیں کی کہ جنگ فی سبیل اللہ میں مرنے والا جو ہے اس کے لیے یہ احکامات ہوں گے، اور جو وبا سے مر گیا ہے اس کے دوسرے احکامات ہوں گے. شہید کا ایک جو ہے جامع لفظ، جنرل لفظ جو ہے وہ استعمال کیا گیا ہے. لہٰذا یہ آپ کو کس دلیل سے پتہ چلا کہ رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم کی یہ مراد تھی کہ اس سے مراد وہ شہید نہیں ہے، اس سے مراد دوسرا شہید ہے؟ یہ مرادیں ہم نے اپنی انڈرسٹینڈنگ سے بنائی ہیں. پیغمبر علیہ السلام کے جو الفاظ ہیں ان میں ایسی کوئی تفریق جو ہے وہ موجود نہیں ہے. لہٰذا اور دوسری بات یہ بھی ہے کہ شہداء کے بارے میں شریعت نے یہ کوئی حکم نہیں دیا کہ تم ان کو لازماً غسل نہ دو یا ان کو کفن نہ دو. شریعت کا کوئی ایسا وجوبی حکم موجود نہیں ہے قرآن اور حدیث میں کہ ان کو انہی کپڑوں کے اندر دفن کیا جائے جن کپڑوں کے اندر وہ شہید ہوئے ہیں. یہ ایک اعزاز کی بات ہے. اور شہداء احد کے ساتھ جو معاملہ ہوا ہے وہ اس وجہ سے ہوا تھا کہ وہاں پر موقع نہیں تھا ان کو الگ الگ کفن دینے کا اور جنازے پڑھنے کا اور الگ الگ قبروں میں دفن کرنے کا، اس لیے کہ دشمن ابھی سر کے اوپر منڈلا رہا تھا. لہٰذا وقت نہیں تھا کہ وہ یہ کام کر سکتے، اس لیے اس کو اگنور کر دیا گیا. تو لہٰذا یہ دلیل بن سکتی ہے آج کی اس موجودہ صورتحال میں کہ جب ہمارے پاس اس طرح کے مواقع موجود نہیں ہیں کہ ہم ان کو غسل اور کفن دے سکیں، تو لہٰذا ہم اس کو دلیل کے طور پر یہاں کوٹ کر سکتے ہیں. یہ میرا ذہن ہے، یہ میری سمجھ ہے.
تو اس پر میں ذرا رد دے دوں اپنا.
Can I just, Sheikh Arif, sorry, yeah, if I could just give a sense of the of a translation of Mufti
Yes,
Farooq's
yes.
point.
Yes.
We've had some excellent other contributions and comments coming from the floor, so I will come back to you, Sheikh Arif, if that's okay.
Okay,
Yeah, so,
wonderful.
my sense is from Mufti Farooq is he's saying that the ayat he mentioned are dealing with an explanation of the principle of taysir, of allowing for alleviation of responsibility. However, he feels that they explicitly cover the sorts of circumstances which we are dealing with, particularly the verses which say that do not put yourself into destruction. Furthermore, the hadith which he's mentioned and the ahadith which deal with the sufferer of ta'un as being included within the shuhada, he reads these hadith as this term as being unqualified. So the use of shaheed is shamil, inclusive of all cases. And the Prophet furthermore did not make any distinction of the ahkam for those who died with a virus versus those who died in terms of battle, who died within war on the battlefield. So accordingly, particularly when we see that the burial processes for those who died on the battlefield were actually partly pragmatic concerns, that they couldn't be washed, they couldn't be buried with the ordinary, normal funerary rites. And accordingly, this becomes a great precedent for us in this time. Yeah, I see Sheikh Arif has some comments to come back on, but if you don't mind, I will broaden it up initially.
Yeah, so this is what I want to pick on the issue. That
if Sheikh, because I've got a couple of other people who have asked.
No, I'm not asking questions. I'm obviously presenting within the argument itself. Yes, sure. I'm not asking questions.
Sure.
So if the shuhada have to be given ghusl, had it not been for the restrictions in Uhud, then that means anybody else who's declared as a shaheed also has to be given ghusl anyway. So Mufti Sahib's first analogy is totally flawed and doesn't work. Mufti Sahib, اگر آپ کہتے ہیں کہ شہداء کو ویسے بھی غسل دینا چاہیے لیکن صورتحال ایسی تھی کہ نہیں دے پائے तो इसका मतलब यह है कि रसूल खुदा किसी और को भी अगर शहीद का दर्जा दे तो मतलब यह है कि गुस्ल उन पर भी वाजिब है, मगर यह है कि ऐसी सूरत हाल हो कि जिसमें हम न दे सकें। तो खास तो
सही।
आपकी जो हाँ तो खास तो आपकी जो आर्ग्यूमेंट है वो इस पर है कि ला दरर ला दिरार, इस पर है आपकी बात, खास वो शहीद वाली बात नहीं है। तो ये कायदा आप इस्तेमाल करें। और दूसरी बात यह है कि ये जो आयतें हैं तयसीर की आयत का मतलब ये नहीं है कि वजूब असलन साकित हो जाता है। उसका मतलब ये है कि जिस तरह से भी वजूब को अदा किया जा सके उसी तरह वजूब को अदा करें। अब आप कहते हैं कि इसका मतलब यह है, और मैं मानता हूं कि जो हिस्से वजूब के अदा नहीं हो सकते उसको छोड़ दें और जो हो सकते हैं उसी को अंजाम दें। लेकिन साथ साथ ये भी इसका एक इंटरप्रिटेशन है कि जिस वक्त दे सकें उस वक्त अंजाम दें, क्योंकि ये वाजिब फौरी नहीं है, वाजिब तराखी है। तो ये मेरे दो नुक्ते हैं।
लेकिन ये जो आपने आखिरी नुक्ता बयान किया ना वाजिब तराखी वाला, तो तराखी तो यहाँ हो नहीं सकती। हमारे पास तो जगह ही नहीं है, रोजाना लोग इतने मर रहे हैं, तो इतनी
नहीं तो
जगह कहाँ है जहाँ मैयतों
हाँ
को
नहीं
संभाला जाएगा।
हाँ नहीं, वो तो सूरत हाल है ना। हमने कहा कि अगर ये सूरत हाल हो जाए तो फिर, मगर ये सूरत हाल होने से पहले और वजूब आयद होते हैं। मसलन कोल्ड स्टोरेज का वो ले लें, जिस तरह आप देखते हैं आजकल मस्जिदों में है, वो ट्रकें ले आए हैं जिसमें वो 40-40 जनाजे रख रहे हैं। तो वो पहले वाजिब होता है, फिर ये वाजिब साकित होता है जब इस हद तक बात पहुंच जाए। तो मेरा कहना यह है कि पे दर पे ये बातें होनी है, एक मर्तबा नहीं हो जाती।
हाँ, ये बात सही है, इस चीज से मैं एग्री हूँ कि वजूब जो साकित होगा तो जो जिसके हम मुकल्लफ हैं, जिसको हम कर सकते हैं, वो
हम्म।
हमें करना पड़ेगा।
जी
और
जी।
जो चीज हमारे बस से बाहर है वो
हम्म।
हम नहीं कर पाएंगे, तो
हाँ,
उसे हमने नहीं करना, वो हम
क्योंकि
छोड़
आप
देंगे।
जो है ना, आप एक्सट्रीम सूरत हाल की बात कर रहे हैं और मैं कह रहा हूं कि ये कवायद जो हमने बयान किए हैं ना यहाँ, इस
जी
कवायद
जी।
में से ये मिलता है कि ये तराखी है, इसमें पे दर पे इसको गुजरना है हमें मराहिल को।
ठीक है।
Okay, so I think we have, alhamdulillah, some sort of reconciliation and agreement there. Okay, of course, the problem still comes as to what situation we are actually in at present.
Yeah.
Sheikh Arif is trying to obviously argue that we have to complete our responsibilities to the extent that is possible. You know, is there opportunity to delay the complete or fuller completion of the funeral acts before considering them as absolved? Yeah, and furthermore, for Sheikh Arif, the principle, the if it was going to come to absolvement. Yeah, and Mufti Farooq is agreeing that yeah, that which is possible we should complete. Although it seems that in his view, practically, delay may not be possible in the current circumstances. So I think that allows us to move to the two questions which I have received actually. Okay, so one is with regards to which has come from Miqdad Versi, and I'll come to that second, and maybe give Sheikh Arif and Mufti Farooq some time to think about it. So Miqdad Versi, who is was former Assistant Secretary General at the MCB, is suggesting if we can have personal protective equipment, okay, would it not be better to use such equipment, okay, and conduct the ghusl and kafan to the extent possible rather than delaying, okay? But before you respond to that, I would like to introduce Muhammad Sharif, my apologies, I don't know him, wants to give us an update of the practices currently being observed by funeral directors. So if you would like to, Haji Muhammad Sharif, you're welcome to share your comments and observations. Oh, it's brother Idris Sharif.
Yes, I was going to say.
Welcome, please. I see.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Oh, assalamu alaikum.
MashaAllah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I just wanted, the language that's been used today is around what's the current situation. So I just wanted to clarify what is happening at the moment. I sit on a few task forces with the police, the Department of Health, and with the funeral directors themselves. So I just want to make it clear that today's situation officially, on behalf of Public Health England, is that they are not stipulating that body bags have to be used. So because of that flexibility, local councils have interpreted those rules individually. So I can speak from Birmingham specific that the coroner has insisted, Louise Hunt has insisted that all bodies that are leaving hospitals need to be in body bags in the conditions described by Mufti Saab at the beginning, i.e. they've had chemical treatment, they've been placed in plastic, and they are then sealed in these plastic bags. However, because the Department of Health have given this flexibility, they have made strong recommendations that the minimum contact with the body, and therefore ghusl isn't done. But because the option is still available, what the funeral directors have amongst themselves, we have 20 funeral directors in Birmingham, amongst them, they have taken the view and taken training on PPE so that they will open the bags, they will perform the ghusl to the extent that they can fully, at the moment, do it, and then they will place the body in a coffin and proceed with the burial. So that is what they're doing at the moment, whilst they have the capacity to do with it, to do so. However, I now acknowledge, refer back to Mufti Saab's situation where in extremis, then when the numbers get so high, and the commitment so far, up until Friday, the commitment from Department of Health has been locally that we will prioritize Muslim burials as high priority, and they will be released as soon as possible with an SLA of between 1 and 3 days. So that allows for a quick turnaround at the funeral directors, that they are still insisting they will still be able to perform the full ghusl. However, so I think we need to just appreciate that the current situation is that the PPE training and the capacity is there for the funeral directors to perform the full ghusl to the extent they can. And then in future, as the numbers get to a state where it becomes more unmanageable, those are the situations where the recommendations that we're looking at today will be implemented. Because what they're then saying is the super mortuary that's being built, the big hospital, the Nightingale we've got at the NEC, the limiting factor will be that the funeral directors will have to have the capacity to receive bodies, perform the ghusl, and then burial. And that time may become critical. It's at that juncture where we may have to take the other options of tayammum, of just water over the bag, the other lesser options. But it would, in those conditions, it would still be considered as having fulfilled the rites of ghusl. I hope that wasn't too long, but I just want to make that clear.
That was excellent, a very, very important contribution, actually. And I think you've given us the picture of Birmingham. My sense is, as you rightly pointed out, this is regional. Each region is dealing with it differently. And also the PPE training, I suspect is also very, very variable. And we have the people who are participating in this discussion do have a national reach. I think we should be very aware of this. That some people may feel that they're appropriately trained, but are they appropriately trained? Okay, for us to be encouraging.
Well, the trainers have actually said that when a training is taking place for about an hour to an hour and a half, the people who are training are saying that this is the minimum. Actually, they've not actually done anything in practice yet. So the risk of infection, they don't call it no risk. They say there's still some risk. So that is where I refer back to Mufti Farooq Alvi Saab's arguments at the beginning, that if we take the priority of the living and we try and address the risks to the living, then it's how much precedence do we give to that scenario, to that risk in those situations.
So I think coming back to the both Sheikh Arif and Mufti Farooq's position, and something which you mentioned there, Brother Idris Shah, was Sharif, is that if we're having reduced practices for funeral rites, okay, I think both of them said that there would be no tayammum once the body has been covered into a bag.
Yes.
And so my understanding from both of their positions is there is no washing over the bag. Okay, and there is no tayammum over the bag.
Right.
Okay.
Although that is being done, I just want to make clear that is being done by some funeral directors are doing that.
If either of you would like to, Mufti Saab or Sheikh Arif would like to elaborate on that, because again, maybe I will ask Sheikh Arif first, because my understanding from the dominant ruling which the Shia communities in Birmingham will be following of Sayyid Sistani is again suggesting tayammum over the bag. Okay. If it is not possible. So if you would both like to comment on that, Sheikh Arif first, please.
So once the ghusl becomes saqit, then tayammum becomes wajib, yes, on the body. If tayammum cannot be performed over a body, it becomes sakit altogether. There is no tayammum. There's no obligation of tayammum beyond the body. Because it doesn't make any difference whether you do tayammum on the bag or you don't do it. It doesn't make any difference. Mufti sir.
जी बिल्कुल आपने सही कहा है, मैं आपकी बात से एग्री हूँ। इसमें सिर्फ एक ये इजाफा करूँगा कि जो लोग तयम्मुम के कायल हैं, तो सवाल ये है कि तयम्मुम कहाँ करना है, तयम्मुम के आज़ा कौन से हैं। गुस्ल तो पूरी बॉडी को दिया जाता है, तयम्मुम जो गुस्ल का कायम मकाम है, तो तयम्मुम पूरी बॉडी के ऊपर नहीं होता। तयम्मुम के लिए तो आज़ा मखसूस हैं, तयम्मुम उन्हीं आज़ा पे किया जाता है जिन आज़ा पर वुज़ू के लिए तयम्मुम किया जाता है। तो गुस्ल के लिए भी उन्हीं आज़ा के ऊपर तयम्मुम किया जाएगा, और उन आज़ा के ऊपर तयम्मुम करना ये नामुमकिन अगर हो चुका है, तो फिर तयम्मुम साक़ित हो जाएगा।
Yes, so I think both of you agreeing, and thank you for that additional clarification. So I wanted to see if there's any other comments from our colleagues or contributions. I see Maulana Safrad Madani is with us, Sayyid Muhammad Fatimi is with us, many other colleagues. Can I ask you for a contribution? Sayyid Fatimi, I heard you speak earlier on. It would be good to have your insight here, particularly in light of this most recent discussion where we know some fuqaha are actually advocating tayammum over the closed bag, and both Mufti Farooq and Sheikh Arif are not content with this position.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So I was thinking about this last point of Sheikh Arif, and the Sheikh Arif suggestion to delay the let me say rituals is an interesting suggestion. I don't know if there is a possibility of delaying up to the point to become clear. I don't know, that would be the best suggestion. I never thought of that. So we need medical expert to tell us if we delay the rituals like for a month, would it be safe to perform all the rituals after that? That is something we don't know yet. And without knowing that is very difficult to make the decision. So two things we need to know. Number one, does the authority let us to delay it at the moment? Number two, if we delay it, would it be safe to do the rituals? And if we know this, it would be very difficult to, let me say, permit burying without this ritual. And I believe the ulama of Shia ulama, at least they were not aware of this Sheikh Arif's point that it is possible. They assumed that, okay, whenever you bury, that would be the situation, you need to do it as such. But do we have a medical evidence that if we delay it?
So I don't know whether we have any medics with us. I think we have. We do have Sister Munzila.
There is Miqdad as well is on there, Dr. Ali. Maybe.
Okay, so we may have some insights. Sister Munzila, if you would like to contribute, drop in a message. Brother Idris Sharif has a comment here about the one of the practical problems we have is the mortuaries don't have the capacity, okay, to hold the bodies. If we were thinking about a month or some sort of extended duration. But I think this question is an important one. I don't know whether Miqdad, you have any contributions you would like to comment?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm not actually aware of the specific details of whether a delay would work. My understanding is it would, if it's over a certain number of days, but I'm not entirely sure on that. What I can say, however, is that a big question is on the personal protective equipment. I think that's actually where the discussion is right now. And there are two or three key questions here about the personal protective equipment, which I thought I would add. One is, as Idris was mentioning earlier, there is a question of training. So if the position ends up being that you try any option that is possible to try and do the ghusl in order to stop the delay, and that option is, for example, training people up to use the personal protective equipment and then them using it, there still remains a small risk. And the question comes, what is an acceptable level of risk that we can say that a living person will have an extra risk to their life. Is that risk one that is that takes us out of what is acceptable? So that's the first question. The second question is that, or related point or issue to consider, is that when it comes to personal protective equipment, the NHS and nurses and doctors are in the greatest need of them at the moment. This does not mean that individuals and burial councils can't access them, but there is a question that one could argue, which is that if by performing ghusl immediately, that necessitates the usage of a large number of personal protective equipment for funeral directors or volunteers, etc., across the country, and that amount then becomes sufficient that it is material, and it's a large number, and that means that certain doctors and nurses, where there is a need, are then not getting it as a result of the PPE being diverted to this use. That is something that may lead to an increased risk for those nurses and doctors. And the question then comes, how do you assess what is appropriate and what is enough risk? Is it if it's only a certain increase in amount of risk, however small that increased risk is for those doctors and nurses, that means we should not do any ghusl at all, or is there some sort of pragmatic middle ground that can be found, and how is that justified from a fiqh perspective?
Thank you, Miqdad. Yeah, excellent. So I think there's two key issues there. If I could restate it and ask Mufti Farooq and Sheikh Arif to both comment, and I would welcome other colleagues who are, online to contribute. I say Sheikh Muhammad Umar Ramadan has joined us, Maulana Safraz, Maulana Qiyamuddin, you're welcome to contribute and comment here. Please do. But from what I get from Miqdad, we have this question of what constitutes the level of risk. So if we can wear a level of risk which allows for taysir or tasaqut, what constitutes an acceptable level of risk, okay, or an unacceptable level of risk, which allows for taysir or which would lead to tasaqut, either through the implication of la darar or any other juristic mechanism.
Dr. Bajani, can I add anything?
Yeah, please let me just re-summarize these questions. Say Fatima, then I will come to you first. Yeah, so what level of risk is acceptable, okay, for people to conduct ghusl? Secondly, is the use of personal protective equipment by our funeral parlors, okay, jeopardizing, okay, the use of these at hospital where arguably there is a greater need? Say Fatima, please.
Okay. At the beginning of Corona in Iran, people were panicked, so they stopped the ghusl thing and the like. But gradually they found out it is possible, especially in Mashhad, some of the seminary students, very equipped, extremely equipped, as Miqdad said. And according to the all experts, with that equipment, the risk is almost nothing. So they have a few layers of, I don't know, particular heart and glass and many things, and they start to do the washing. But the other possibility, I was talking to Sheikh Arif, I don't know why they are not considering the possibility of ghusl irtimasi. It is very easy to have a container and have the body in the water, then they let the water goes and the body one is dry. So they've done a ghusl in one go without anyone touching it even. Just they put the body in a container of water and there should be a tap and the water can go. So irtimasi ghusl is almost with no risk, is doable. Just we need to make a container, have the water in it, and that's it. And I don't know if it causes any risk. So at the moment, people are panicked. They don't go for any type of initiation or, let me say, novel ways of doing it. But with a bit of deliberation, it can be done.
Okay. All right. So we've got from Brother Idris Shah saying that we have, no more than 1 month delay being recommended. So burial within a month. Okay. Local burial is preferring as soon as possible. I don't know if Mufti Farooq or Sheikh Arif want to add any comments or contributions here to these questions which have just been raised.
So I'm going to answer on behalf of Mufti Sahib, and I concur with him on this. Mufti Sahib, आपके तरफ से भी ये जवाब दे रहा हूं मैं, जरा आप सुनिए. That slightest risk under the present circumstances, slightest risk is not allowed because it's a contagion and it can inadvertently get passed on. And in Islam, we are prohibited to infect other people. Yeah. So even if there is 1% of contracting the disease and passing it on, then the Sharia will not impose the obligation of giving the rites, the funerary rites. In fact, the Sharia will adamantly prohibit us from conducting such rites. That's, I think, the Sharia perspective from both Sunnis and Shias. Mufti Sahib, muwafiq hai?
I think he's nodding for sure. He's nodding and agreeing. Yeah. Any other comments or contributions or questions? Sheikh Muhammad Omar, you're welcome to comment, contribute.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope all are doing well. I agree with what Sheikh Arif and Mufti Sahib have said. Sheikh Arif's comment is also the position of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Any form of risk is the prohibition is clear in the usul. So it's a valid point. And yeah, I've followed the discussion. It's very. I don't think there's anything to dispute, but I think Sheikh Arif's position, we have to look towards that because that's looking at circumstances when this unfortunately may become worse. So in the future, I think we should debate more regarding that in the future. But Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we have some. Thank you, Sheikh Muhammad Omar. We have some comments and questions from some of our students, and colleagues, and they're asking about the ghusl actually, and maybe this links back to one of Mufti Farooq's earlier comments in his talk, where he said that the chemical washing sufficed for the ghusl. Now, some of our students are asking, whether whether we need to rethink the initial, or is this an opportunity for us to think about what the purpose of the ghusl actually was? Okay, so I don't know whether you'd like to respond to that question and elaborate on that point first and foremost. In his view, he argued, or it seemed to me, that he was suggesting that the chemical washing conducted by the hospital suffices for the ghusl. Sheikh Arif or Sayyid Fatimi, would you like to comment on this possibility, on the nature of ghusl itself? So we're moving to a more theoretical discussion, but I think we have the time, so please, let's go.
So I'll give Mufti Saab's position on this, which I concur on, and then Sayyid Fatimi can come in, inshallah. Yes? Is that okay? So, yes, the ghusl with the chemicals will suffice. And in fact, the purpose of ghusl was, what appears from the prophetic wisdom, was to preserve the body, That's what appears to be the case. And if you look at the Ismaili community, they actually give a wash with cotton dabbed in Dettol and other detergents. And that's how they give the washing to the dead body under normal circumstances. And then they just give a plain wash and they see that as a ghusl. So it appears very much to be the case that even if not under normal circumstances, then at least under pressing circumstances, extenuating circumstances, that ought to be sufficient, and that might even become an obligation if that is the only way to do it. Sayyid Fatimi.
Honestly, I don't know what is that chemical. As long as it is not like a ma'ul mudaf, I don't know what is the chemical. Is it water or what? So I can't have any judgment on that chemical that are washing with. So it's very difficult to comment on that.
मेरे ख्याल में वो जो केमिकल है, पानी में कुछ ब्लीच मिलाकर तो उसके साथ बॉडी को वॉश किया जाता है. तो गुस्ल देने का बुनियादी मकसद तो जो है कि बॉडी को साफ किया जाए, और अगर केमिकल के साथ उसको साफ भी कर दिया गया है और हमें ये सहूलत मौजूद है कि हम उसको गुस्ल दे सकते हैं, तो हमें पानी से गुस्ल देना चाहिए और शरीयत का हुक्म पूरा करना चाहिए। लेकिन अगर वो पॉसिबल नहीं है तो इस लिहाज से मैंने कहा कि हॉस्पिटल में केमिकल के जरिए से या ऐसा वाटर जिसमें ब्लीच मिलाकर या केमिकल मिलाकर बॉडी को साफ कर दिया गया है, तो उसी को हम गुस्ल तसव्वुर करेंगे, अगर हम अलग से गुस्ल नहीं दे सकते। तो ये मेरा मकसद था।
So what I'm saying is that if you look at the fiqh norms, we are faced with a situation either all or nothing. If we insist that ghusl has to be given with mutlaq water, berry water, camphor water, if we can't do that, then there is no wujub at all according to traditional fiqh.
Yeah.
If on the other hand, if we are talking about, well, why was the ghusl given in the first place? Was it to purify the body and to disinfect the body? If that is the thing, and which appears to be the case, then Qaidatul Tasir will tell us to do that instead as an obligation if it's possible. Mufti Sahib?
Yeah, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So any other comments or questions? Otherwise, we'll say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I'm very grateful for everybody's patience and with this new format, and obviously it's a test for us, and it's a very, very important.
Dr. Ali, अगर मौलाना सरफराज मदनी अगर इधर हैं तो उनसे गुजारिश करें कि वो कुछ इसके ऊपर बात कर लें।
बिल्कुल, मैंने एक दो दफा पूछा, लेकिन मौलाना सरफराज साहब, प्लीज अगर आप आपकी अगर माइक्रोफोन चल रहा है, तो please, we would be honored if you could give us some contribution of your thoughts and current experience on this issue.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you hear me, inshallah?
We can hear you very clearly. Thank you. Welcome.
3 points very quickly, inshallah, Aziz. First thing is that this is not a qaida taysir, fiqh qaida we are implementing here at home. It is a qaida istirar, illa mazturirtum. So you are doing this one in emergency. When emergency is declared, the normal laws are suspended. So emergency should be declared very seriously, and it should not be taken at all lightly that everything is emergency. No, ulama should sit down, experts should sit down and decide whether it is really emergency or they are just thinking that it is emergency. So this is my first point, that it is a qaida istirar, not qaida tasir. Second thing, ghusl. Some people are suggesting that the body bag should be given ghusl. Ghusl is to the body, not to the body bag. And it is not to the coffin. If body is covered properly and the chemical ghusl was given to that body already, then why people are insisting to give ghusl to a bag at this moment? So what has been done is enough for the deceased person. Delaying a janaza will, in my humble opinion, cause more problem, create more problem than solving a problem. You want to solve the problem, and instead of solving the problem, you are creating more problems. You don't know what will happen to those bodies and what will be the situation later on for Muslims. So to deal with these things, one of the right of the deceased is that he or she should be buried as soon as possible. So why we are delaying the coffin and the burial of that person? So in the circumstances, whatever is available, try to do it as soon as possible, so that the life of living people becomes a bit easy. So if you carry on delaying the burial of those people, you are leaving the families of those deceased people for a long time in sorrow position. And we should not leave them in that position at all. They should forget it, they should pray it, but they should not be in that real sad condition for many days or many weeks or many months.
Asantum. Shukran jazilan, Maulana Sahab. So I think there's 3 very, very important points. And the third one is one which we haven't discussed at all, which I think is very, very important in terms of the psychological impact upon our communities and the families themselves. I think that's a very important point which Maulana Sahab has made. On the second point which he made, I think there we have agreement amongst the people who've been speaking today at least. The ghusl, over the bag, okay, something which our contributors today are not agreeing with. And Maulana Madani seems to be on the same page there. I guess his first point is where there is a subtle difference, at least in tone. He's saying rather than emphasizing Qa'idah Taysir or Qa'idah La Darar, he's emphasizing this is a situation of iftirar. One of our colleagues, of course, has put on the chat, of course, al-darura takaduru biqadriha, and necessity is only to the extent, or the alleviation should then only be to the extent, okay, afforded by the necessity. And Maulana Sahib emphasizes that we shouldn't take this lightly of declaring an emergency. Maybe Sheikh Arif and Mufti Farooq Sahib would agree that this is iftirar, but they're using taysir or la darar to judge to what extent we should act within this period of emergency. But I think there's exceptional comments and we really value them, Maulana Sahib. So I don't know if anybody else has any comments before we wrap up and conclude.
I
have some contributions here from Dr. Munzila Raza, who's also, she's a medical doctor and also a student at the Al-Mahdi Institute. And she has come back to say that the current medical understanding is that the virus seems to live for 2 to 9 days upon the dead body. But this cannot be or is not sure. We can't be certain about this. On hard surfaces, it can survive for up to 9 days. But the human body is packed with the virus. So inside the body is the virus is present. Okay, and it's too much of a risk to touch it, and hence this requirement or urge, or many hospitals, despite the national guidance not requiring it, many hospitals sealing the bag. I think Sister Munzila, Dr. Munzila, if you would be happy to comment on the mic, I think that would be very useful if you summarize these contributions for us, please.
Alaikum. Thank you very much. So very briefly, we don't actually know how long, Sheikh Arif mentioned that when you're free of the virus, you can go ahead and give ghusl. We don't actually know when the top limit of that is, and data is very sparse right now. I remember back when I was doing pathology, one of our mortuary technicians got infected with TB just from performing a post-mortem of a dead body. So there's a very great risk associated with this. And all we know right now is that it survives on hard surfaces for up to 9 days. We don't know anything about cloth. And this is just minute droplets that can survive for that long. The human body is essentially packed with secretions, and the virus has entered every cell. So, and when you die, basically stuff starts oozing out, just for want of a better explanation. And you'll notice that if you ever do ghusl, stuff can begin leaking out from the human body. So it's highly infective. And if you don't know the top limit of how long it lasts, then this, at the very least, this is a minimum risk to the people that are in the vicinity. So it's by droplet infection as well. You can just, it can enter your nose just from being in the vicinity. So I would say that medically, we don't know. There's not enough data to say how long the virus does survive on a dead body. So I don't think that is an option right now where you can put it in cold storage and come back to it in perhaps 2 weeks' time, or even the way Sayyid Fatmi was saying, for example, ghusl iltimasi, that water would become infected, completely infected, and then you have to adequately drain the water that you do the ghusl in. How do you protect the people, again, who are in its vicinity? We don't know how good PPE is. There's different guidance that comes around every so often that this mask is appropriate or not. So PPP is actually like a mask and a visor and 3 sets of gloves. And so it's quite complicated. I don't know if that helped at all.
Very, very much. Thank you, Dr. Munzila. So I think Brother Idris Sharif wants to make a comment as well, please.
Yes, it's just a small point, but I think it's critical still. The theme of today's discussion has been around minimizing risk to the living. And we've had numerous cases across Birmingham where there's been an insistence of the family of the deceased to be present at the burial. And one of the facilities that the cemeteries have put in place is for live streaming. So I think this is something else that we as community leaders need to make people aware that we know it's an emotional time. We know it's a time of loss, and people naturally feel that they want to be at the burial. Sons, daughters, husbands, whatever. But because that facility exists, I think there is, and the limit is 6 people from the immediate family, then there's the risk that family members who are potentially exposed are mixing with other people at the burial. And secondly, those people who should be quarantined are not in quarantine as well. So I think that's another message that we need to get out to people around there are other ways in which they can participate in that funeral without exposing others and themselves to further risk as well, inshallah.
Thank you, brother Muhammad Idris Sharif. So I think these have been, I hope that people will agree this has been a beneficial discussion. Maulana Madani, do you have a further comment? I see you typed some responses. Yes. Okay. So I think he's repeated there his issues that he mentioned, his 3 points, which are I think exceptionally.
Yes. Same thing here.
Yeah. So that's very valuable, and also to have it in writing. So I'm grateful for that. So I'm very grateful for everybody's patience in this new format.
Please make one small point, if possible. I know that Sheikh Arif and Musab earlier mentioned this idea, and I think others agreed this idea that any incremental risk is unacceptable. Basically, is a summary of that position. I just want to problematize that claim, because I don't understand how that can be substantiated. In particular, because in any situation almost that you give ghusl, there is an increase in risk for yourself for doing so. I think the doctor earlier, she mentioned the case of someone who's doing an autopsy, for example, where that person got infected as a result. I mean, there's always an increase in risk. So I don't think it is right or even pragmatic or have any real basis in reality if we say any at all incremental risk cannot be acceptable. That's not what happens in real life when it comes to any type of ghusl. So I think that we have to be a bit more careful and not say any incremental risk. We have to think about this in a more balanced way and think about, well, what is the level of risk that is acceptable, and how can we minimize it, and what level of minimizing is considered acceptable? Because if they put the personal protective equipment on, given, as was mentioned earlier, the key ways of transmission from a dead body to a living person is actually is mainly through the droplets, as was mentioned, or through the feces or the other types of there are specific ways that these can be mitigated against. And I think at the moment there are no cases internationally where any dead there have been documented cases of a dead body giving the virus to a living person. I think there's 0 cases. So whilst it's a theoretical possibility, if we have PPE already in place, I think we have to be very careful about saying no incremental risk at all is acceptable.
Dr. Ali.
Sorry, go ahead, please.
ये ब्रदर मिकदाद की बात और डॉक्टर मुंजिला और मौलाना सरफराज मदनी की पॉइंट्स ये सारे आने के बाद तो मेरी राय ये होगी, मैं ये सजेस्ट करूंगा कि गुस्ल का हर तरीका जो है उसको छोड़ दिया जाए इस मौजूदा सिचुएशन में, या इससे अगर सिचुएशन वर्स होती है तो इस वक्त इसी पर हमें इत्तेफाक करना चाहिए कि हॉस्पिटल ने बॉडी जो वॉश करके सील कर दी है, बैग में डाल दी है, बस वही गुस्ल काफी है, किसी और गुस्ल की तरफ न जाया जाए, इसी के अंदर जिंदा लोगों के लिए जो है वो हिफाजत है। जज़ाकुल्लाह खैर।
Yeah, so I think Mufti Sahib is in a sense building on the comments. Whether others would agree or not is a different question, but his suggestion is, in light of the additional information from Dr. Munzila, and despite the question of Miqdad Bursi, and building on Maulana Madani's concerns, he's arguing that we should consider a sealed bag, okay, which is coming from the hospital, as not being having any duty of performing ghusl over the bag, and we should consider any duty of ghusl either to have been performed or dropped. So this is the Mufti Sahib's position after hearing this further contributions. I don't know if Sheikh Arif or Maulana Mahdi want to respond to.
Ali, can I just make a comment on Brother Miqdad's comment?
Please.
Of course, everything has risk entailed and involved inside it. But the distinction here is, and this is a Sharia distinction, that this is an epidemic. it is not risk under ordinary circumstances. It's an epidemic. And here, because we can spread it, and whatever we do will become a norm within Muslim communities, the Sharia normally looks at the utilitarian calculus and gives its position in instances like these. So within this context of an epidemic, slightest risk is not acceptable. Even slightest risk is not acceptable. Ordinarily, we are not without and we are not free of risk. But under the situation, under the circumstances, that is why we are saying in this particular case, risk is not allowed. Just to give that response to your thing from the jurisprudential sort of perspective.
Yeah, I think maybe to add to that, there's a known possibility of transmission. Yeah, so the possibility of transmission is known.
Yeah,
I
it's
guess
not speculative.
Yeah, so there's a known possibility. Okay, so again, because we have, our allotted time was till 4:30. So if there's any other further comments before I conclude, please feel free. This is what this forum is for. Okay, so since there is no extra points, I think we realize that this is, I think many of the people who are participating today have been keeping informed from their own areas of expertise of what's going on, and have been informing others. But from the variation that we have even today, we can see this is a topic which is worthy of further deliberation and further discussion. And this is not something which is going to end quickly. The further ramifications, other jurisprudential, other social issues, which I think Maulana Madani was very, very right to raise. And to a certain extent, Brother Idris Shah also raised that the social issues of how we're dealing with the families and broader society is something which should be at the utmost of our minds. So I hope that we can have further discussions, in a similar fashion, maybe with more focus. We'd welcome your feedback, and we're very, very grateful for your patience and participation. Maybe if I could ask Dr. Khalid, the co-director of CIMS, to end with a final comment and with a dua, and we'll thank you all for your time. May Allah bless you all. Dr. Khalid Saab.
On behalf of CIMS, we welcome and appreciate all participants, ulama, community leader, and experts. May Allah give you great jaza, inshallah. That would be continue this sort of discussion on the social issues and the issues relating to the Muslim Ummah, Muslim communities is here in future as well, inshallah. May Allah give you great jaza and reward for sacrificing your valuable time for this great cause. And may Allah accept our discussions and the participation for His own sake. Then we conclude with this dua. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursaleen. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.